In this video, you are going to be given the graph, and we're trying to determine what the equation is for a piecewise function. So if this were a test or a homework problem, all this red writing wouldn't be here and the green writing wouldn't be here, and it wouldn't be set up like this at the bottom. This is all just to save a little bit of time in the video. Okay, so we're given two different pieces of this graph here. I drew them in different colors so that you'd know which one I was talking about all the time. Again, that won't be done on the homework and it won't be done on the test. So I'm just going to call this red line, line 1, and I'm going to call the green line, line 2. The first thing we need to do is figure out what the slope is of the red line. So for each one of these lines we have to figure out what the slope is and the intercept is. That way we can write the equation of the line. And then we're going to look at what the interval is over which this line is graphed. Okay, so first, slope. Slope is rise over run. I think the best way to determine slope on a graph like this is just count rise over run and make it a fraction. So this graph goes up 1 over 2. So it rises 1 every time it goes over 2. So rise over run will be 1/2. 1 over 2. Now if you counted from this point to this point, it would go up 2 and over 4. But you would still simplify that from 2 over 4, you would simplify that fraction to 1 over 2. So you would end up with the same slope. The intercept is where the line hits the y-axis. So we can see this line hits the y-axis at y equals 3. So 3. If I could do this video over, I probably would have wrote y-intercept instead of intercept, but not a big deal. Okay, now that we know the slope and we know the intercept, I'm going to put this in y equals mx plus b form. So, actually I don't have that much room, so I'm going to skip y equals because we have f of x equals here. All we need is mx plus b. So, slope is 1/2 x plus, and b is our y-intercept, which is 3. So 1/2 x plus 3 is our equation here. And what interval is this red line graphed over? So what values of x is this covering? Well, it's covering from -4 here. It includes -4. So again, this line at the bottom isn't going to be part of the graph. It's just to help us figure out what the intervals are. So it goes from -4 all the way to 0. So I'm going to write -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 0. -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 0. -4. Okay. Now we have to go over and do all the same things for the line 2. But first let's put line 1 right into our piecewise function. So it's going to be 1/2 x plus 3. 1/2 x plus 3. That's our rule, and then that's graphed over the interval from -4 to 0. So 1/2 x plus 3 if -4 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 0. So this, we have it half done. Now we just have to do the same thing for the next line. So first we're going to look and figure out the slope. And again, we can see it goes, let's go between these 2 points. Because I can see it lines up with the grid just like you'll be able to on the test, even though you can't maybe see it on this whiteboard. So we're going to go from this point here, we'll go up and over. And again, we're going to go up 1 and over 2. So rise is 1, run is 2. So our slope is going to be 1/2. Our y-intercept, where the line strikes the y-axis, is going to be 1. So even though this line doesn't go through the y-axis because it stops right here, it stops right as it gets to the y-axis, we're interested in the equation of the entire line. So for slope and intercept, these don't change depending on the interval. The interval is irrelevant to these spikes. We put that in at the end. So the y-intercept is 1. Then the equation we're going to write as remember the equation of a line is y equals mx plus b, but the y equals part is covered here, so all we need is the mx plus b part to put here. And remember f of x is the same as y. So we have y equals, we just need mx plus b. We know the slope is 1/2 x, plus b is the y-intercept we figured out is 1, so 1/2 x plus 1. Plus 1. And now we just have to figure out the interval. So this starts at x equals 0, but it doesn't include the exact point x equals 0, so it's going to be an open circle. And this goes on forever. So the interval for this one will be right up through infinity. So how are we going to write that here? We're going to say x is greater than 0. X is greater than 0. If this dot was filled in here, it's not, but if it was, we would say x is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so now we have the equation and the interval, so we can write it in here and we will be done. Our equation is 1/2 x plus 1. And we're going to use this equation if x is greater than 0. If x is greater than 0. So that's our answer.